We are into the fourth round tie breaks at Batumi, Georgia. And playing with the black pieces here is none other than former women's world champion Alexandra Kosteniuk. Alexandra became the women's world champion in 2008 and held the title until 2010. She's known for her speed chess. She has been the former world champion in rapid play. She's also been the gold medalist for her country at the Olympiad, won several tournaments, and she's a formidable opponent. Her opponent for today's encounter is none other than India number 1 Koneru Humpy. And there you see Humpy arrives, and right now Humpy is higher rated than Kosteniuk, but one can be sure that the battle is going to be extremely intense. Humpy has the white pieces in the first 15 minutes plus 10 seconds increment game, and Kosteniuk will have to make sure that she's able to hold herself with the black pieces. Humpy opens with d4, knight f6, knight comes out to f3, d5 played, and we have the queen's gambit with c4, declined with e6, and the Catalan with g3 here. Alexandra plays the solid bishop e7 line. The bishop comes to g2, short castles, and Humpy plays this slightly offbeat variation with queen to d3. Kosteniuk puts her pawn forward. She wants to get her bishop out to a6, takes, and Humpy simply castles it out. Black plays her pawn to a5 and bishop comes to f4. These structures are very, very interesting and instructive for any improving player in Catalan systems, because black is trying to strike the center with these pawns while white tries to simply hold on to this, and when you take, then this becomes an isolated pawn. So it's not so easy for either side to resolve the tension. If you take here, then black gets hanging pawns which could be strong. And look at both players, how they are calmly maneuvering around this tension. Rook e8 played. And Humpy goes back, queen b1. Rook comes to c8. Maybe now e3, but e3 your bishop gets out of the pawn chain. So she plays bishop h3 attacking the rook, and the rook goes back to a8. It feels like Humpy has gotten something to play with now. She puts her pawn to a3, and Kosteniuk now pushes b5. So she's gaining space in the position here. Pawn takes pawn, bishop takes c5 has happened. And I like black's position here, especially these bishops, very well positioned. b4 looks very strong and she plays it. Humpy in some trouble here because black pieces are very well positioned. She takes back on b4, and where does this knight go? Maybe knight to e2. Now can we jump in with our knight to e4? She goes b3. And now rook to c1, attacking the bishop and the knight. Queen comes to b6. And she goes bishop c7, but now queen takes c7 is good. Also queen a7 is fine. Humpy is playing here with fire. Queen takes bishop, rook takes. And now you can come back queen b6. And she plays it. The reason why this position is so good for black is because after knight b4, look at these weaknesses here. Knight to f4, stopping knight d3. But can we simply jump in with knight c2? She goes g5, a very, very aggressive move. And now sacrificing the knight, g5, hg, queen to f5. Humpy trying to muddy the waters. Now knight e4 is the best move. But she goes knight h7, which is the second best move in the position. Takes on d5, but after knight takes, it's clear that black is a piece up here. Look at this, a complete piece up, rook a d8. And she plays bishop to b7, taking control of the long diagonal. Humpy in big trouble here. Queen comes back to c4, and Alexandra moves her queen closer to the king side. Bishop f5. I love how Humpy continues to fight here. Putting her bishop, knight goes to f8, and queen takes the pawn on b3. So she's gotten another pawn. Now has 3 pawns for a piece. Rook b8 and rook to b5 played, pinning here. The rook comes to d8. Super interesting position. And now bishop d5 is an interesting tactic that's available. But instead it goes queen e7, and suddenly Humpy has equalized this position. And she's doing well. But how to continue? She goes rook b6, piling up the pressure. And Kosteniuke goes rook d6. It's a mistake because queen b4 now pins it. The only move now is bishop e4, but instead she goes rook d8, blundering a piece there. Or just Kosteniuke didn't find a way out of this mess. Rook takes, king g2 played. And Humpy has now gotten back her piece, and she's doing really, really well. It seems like the entire strategy of Humpy giving up a piece, wasn't planned, but it worked out beautifully. Rook goes to a1. And now queen to b6, offering a trade of queens. Queen goes to g7. And there you see queen d6 played. You go rook to c1. But now h3, and lovely move by Humpy. She knows that there's no need to hurry here. Pushing the pawn to e5. And rook e2. And now there's a wonderful move here. Bishop h7. I love this move because if knight cannot take, if king h8, f8 is hanging, so she takes. Queen d3 check with an attack here, a double attack, and Humpy wins the rook. Queen jumps to h5, and it is almost a mate. Kosteniuke resigns. Humpy scores a beautiful win, and in the next round she managed to hold herself. She was better, but she drew the game and thus moved on to the quarterfinals to take on Song Yuxin. A great win for Humpy, and her chances of making it to the candidates are growing as she's now entering the quarterfinals.